Welcome to this video where we will learn about the legendary Saiva saint Narasingha Munaiyaraiyar Nayanar. He hailed from the kingdom of Thirumurai and his area's major city was Tirunavallur. Present-day Tirunavallur can be found a few miles south of the well-known Tenpanai river and a few miles west of the city of Pandrutti. As Narasingha Munaiyaraiyar Nayanar was a contemporary of Sundarar and was in fact his adopted father, we can confirm that he lived during the 8th century in the Common Era. His day of Mukti, which is when he attained liberation, is annually celebrated as his Guru Pusai on the Sadayam Natchatram of the Tamil month of Purattasi, which is usually from mid-September to mid-October. His glories have been shared with the rest of the world by many saints, including Sekkizhar Swamigal, who has dedicated 9 songs in his Periya Puranam to him. Now we know a few details about Narasingha Munaiyaraiyar Nayanar. Let's learn a bit more about his story. Narasingha Munaiyaraiyar Nayanar hailed from the families of the great rulers of the area of Thirumurai Nadu. The Munaiyaraiyar part of his name was originally referred to as Munaiyaraiya, which meant the ruler of Thirumurai, and the Adiyar part of this phrase has the same meaning as the Tamil word Arasar, which means king. Narasingha Munaiyaraiyar ruled over the area he was in charge of with great justice, humility and bravery. For him, nothing was greater than the Lord's sacred ash, Thiruthondar, and the Lord's devotees. As a ruler, he fought in many battles against foes and ill wishes of his homeland, and always returned home victorious to continue ruling with great purpose. In order to maintain justice and a positive way of life amongst his people, he made sure any evil ways in the kingdom were found and eliminated. He led by example in his way of life too, as all honest rulers of a kingdom do. Such was his way of life as a ruler that Narasingha Munaiyaraiyar ensured that the divine wealth in all the temples in his area were always increasing, and all these places of worship were well looked after. Even when he faced other difficulties as the ruler, he would not even think of swaying away from his duty towards Sivanaar and his devotees. Such was his steadiness of mind and devotion towards Sivaperuman. On the annual holy day of adiyaen, Narasingha Munaiyaraiyar would not only do his usual good deeds, he would perform a magnificent puja dedicated to the Lord, give every Sivanadiyar there 100 gold coins, and then host a nectarian feast for all the Sivanadiyars. It was on one such day that the Lord wanted to test this noble soul and thus share his greatness with the rest of the world. On the glorious day of adiyaen, as the king was celebrating this annual occasion in his kind-hearted way of serving the Lord's devotees, in the best way he felt he could, by feeding them and giving them each 100 gold coins, there was a commotion in the crowd of devotees gathered, and the reason soon became clear. Amongst the crowd there was a man who had impure intentions and publicly displayed improper behaviour. At the same time, he too was smeared in the sacred ashes. In fact, he was wearing quite a lot of the ashes. Despite being smeared in ashes, the people in the crowd only saw the disgraceful behaviour of this person and immediately tried to distance themselves from the man in a show of their contempt. The noble and kind Narasingha Munaiyaraiyar saw this and immediately, in the complete opposite manner to the way the crowd were acting, He walked gracefully towards this individual and paid his respects by folding his hands before speaking kind words and welcoming him. He then gave this man not the usual amount of 100 gold coins, but 200 gold coins. Narasingha Munaiyaraiyar only saw the sacred ashes on this apparent devotee of the Lord and nothing else. Such was the elevated plane of his thoughts. For him, anyone wearing the sacred ashes, Thiruneru, were a representation of the Lord himself and nothing less. No matter how educated or uneducated, rich or poor, healthy or unhealthy, polite or rude an individual was, one who wore Thiruneru were an embodiment of Sivanaar himself and thus deserved great respect. Narasingha Munaiyaraiyar was a great devotee of the Lord's devotees and at the same time was also the leader of his people. He only wanted good for his people and so did not want any of their souls to commit the sin of disrespecting a Sivanadiyar and experience the negative karmic consequences. Such was the nobility of Narasingha Munaiyaraiyar Nayanar. Thus, instead of forcefully asking everyone to behave in a certain manner, Narasingha Munaiyaraiyar, in the most subtle of ways, led by example, as a true leader of the people will always do, and did not at any moment get influenced by what the crowd of people were doing at the same time. The all-loving Sivanaar was immensely pleased with Narasingha Munaiyaraiyar and granted him eternal bliss. Such was the greatness of Narasingha Munaiyaraiyar that his glories have been sung by many other saints. Here is the legendary saint Nambiyandaar Nambi's song, which he has dedicated to the life of Narasingha Munaiyaraiyar.
Pukazhum Padiyem Paramae Thavarkku nal Pulniduvon Igalum Padiyur Thavan Madavar Unai Moolamum Nigalum Padi Kande Avanaiku Irati Ponnittal Vandu Thigalum Mudi Narasingha Munaiyarasan Tirame.
And, as Nambiyandaar Nambi has mentioned, Narasingha Munaiyaraiyar did in fact bring up the legendary Sundaramurti Nayanar as his adopted son. Let's explore two songs where Sundarar has praised Narasingha Munaiyaraiyar.
Naathanuk koor namak Narasingha Munaiyaraiyar Aadarithi sadukkaat seyyum koor adinavalurandru Moodanatrakka பன்றொன்று நாருடன் உரைத்த தமிழ் காதலித்தும் கற்றும் கேட்பவர் தம் வினை கட்டருமே பொய்யடிமை இல்லாத புலவர்க்கும் அடியேன் பொழிகருவு துஞ்சிய புகழ் சோழற்கடியேன் மெய்யடிய நரசிங்க முனையரையர் கடியேன் விரிதிரிசுள் கடல் நாகை அதிபத்தற்கடியேன் கை தடிந்த வரி சிலையான் களி கம்பன் கலியன் கலச்சக்தி வரிஞ்செயர் குணடியார்க்கும் அடியேன் ஐயடிகள் காடவர் குணடியார்க்கும் அடியேன் ஆரூரன் ஆரூரில் அம்மான காளே
The legendary Saiva saint Circular Swamigal of the 12th century in the Common Era has also written about Narasingha Munaiyaraiyar Nayanar's life and has composed 9 Periya Puranam compositions dedicated to Narasingha Munaiyaraiyar Nayanar's life story. Let's explore the Periya Puranam composition where Circular Swamigal describes the moments when Narasingha Munaiyaraiyar was blessed by Sivanaar with eternal bliss.
Ivvakaiyae Thiruthondin அருமை நதி என்னாலும் சவ்விய அன்பினில் ஆற்றி திருந்திய சிந்தையராகி பைவளர்வாள் அரவு அணிந்தார் பாதமலர் நிழல் சேர்ந்து மெய்வகைய வழியன்பின் மீளாத நிலை பெற்றார்.
O hail the legendary Narasingha Munaiyaraiyar Nayanar.